Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is International Forum. We're taking a look at the document, sensitive document 20 right now, counting, that was discovered in Joe Biden's private home. And people have been talking about this, saying, look, if Joe Biden, the 7th president of America, is in possession of all this document right from when he was the vice president, why was Donald Trump treated the way he was treated? How do you think this will impact on the government of Joe Biden? With me here in the studio is a legal practitioner, human rights activist, political affairs commentator. Join me to welcome Barrister Emmanuel Obakbolo. Barrister, welcome to International Forum. I appreciate your coming.
Good afternoon, Wilson. Good afternoon, Nigeria.
All right. When this news broke, I like asking this question. Were you surprised? Were you amazed, knowing fully well the caliber of the person of the U.S. President, Joe Biden?
I am not surprised. Because Joe Biden is one character that has held so many positions in the United States of America. He was at the Senate. Later, he became the vice president. Excuse me. And now the president. So, I think the young man is still swearing in his position as the United States president. So just now, the Attorney General of the United States of America appointed a special counsel, to probe, and they'll be able to come up with what they call classified documents.
Classified documents?
Yes, and in those documents, they say there were materials and classified documents, which includes some of the governmental and official documents as at when he was at the Senate and when he was the vice president to then President Barack Obama. So one would conclude or would suggest that Joe Biden was not careful enough, so to speak. And he should know that America leads the world when it comes to official documents, secret documents, and documents that are relevant to official documentations or official activities as it is. So I am not surprised because the system has a way of checkmating itself. So just now, the system has been able to checkmate itself and come up with these revelations of official documents found in his private residence. So I am not surprised.
All right, now what is with American leaders, both the Senate, House of Rep, or the top governmental official in America with secret classified, they call it classified documents? Why is it so?
I think just like with this dispensation in their democratic setting, maybe because of science and technology improvement or a better improvement on science and technology, so many revelations have been coming up. I want to agree with the fact that before now, things like this have been happening, but nobody has been able to come up with any revelation. But just now, because of the way the direction the world is paddling to, so people are now coming up with ideas, suggestions to see how those who are in power could be checkmated so that they don't conceal so many secrets that may be detrimental to governance and government, particularly internally, so that it may not now expose them externally. So I think that is the reason why we begin to see all of these revelations. You can imagine that the same Joe Biden who monitored, checkmated, and also policed the former president, Donald Trump. Yeah. And you saw the way his government tongue-lashed Donald Trump with regards to some sensitive, or like in their own words, classified documents that were found in his private residence. And he himself is now making that same error, so to speak, wherein classified documents have been found in his own private residence. Not just documents that has to do with his presidency, just now as the president of the United States of America, but also documents in relation to when he was at the Senate, and then the vice president to Barack Obama. So it beats one hollow to see that the same error, if it is, or the same paths that Donald Trump went, Joe Biden, as with his two eyes open, stepped into that same path. But I don't know how he's going to escape this, because already some persons and the media has described it as political headache for him, because the midterm election is just by the corner by 2024. So I don't know how he's going to escape that.
All right, now, while Donald Trump was being pummeled because of the classified document found in his private residence, it was like, stormed by FBI agents. He mentioned some government officials, both serving and past government officials, having these sensitive documents, but they didn't take him seriously. I mean, it's like, him being a Donald Trump, and of course, Joe Biden being a Joe Biden, people are like asking, how come there is this difference in treatment?
I want to believe that it is because of the liberal democracy that United States of America practices. If not for that liberal democracy, perhaps maybe some of these documents wouldn't have been discovered. But because there is liberality, but because the system, like I did say from the outset, has a way of checkmating itself. So now they'll be able to come up with, you can imagine the Attorney General who is serving under him was the one who appointed a counsel, so to speak, a special counsel, that's the right word, yeah. A special counsel to probe into all of this. So if not for their kind of liberal democracy, the president might just have a situation where everything is on his fingertip. When the president sneezes, everybody will go down. When the president maybe is not happy, all the mountains surround America, United States of America, will not quiver for safety. But that is not the situation. The liberality of their democracy are able to ensure that the principles that guides democracy are able to come up and show itself. And what is that principle? Separation of power. What is that principle? The rule of law. So because they practice liberal democracy in total, so the doctrine of immunity does not have sway. Rather, the liberality of the democracy is what has sway and be able to allow other arms of government and government agencies to be able to carry out probes and come up with revelations of this manner. So one would say and conclude that it is because of the liberal democracy that you and I are able to have opportunity, privilege to read about secrets like this. If not, in this, take for instance, in our own land, you may not be opportune to get information of this manner, despite the information act. Despite that, you may not be able. But because of the liberality of their democracy, revelations like this have emanated.
But now the question still remains hanging in the sense the way they treated Donald Trump is quite different from the way they are treating Joe Biden, because it was the same offense that was committed. Why the difference in treatment?
The case of Donald Trump, the little difference was that Donald Trump revelation came few days to the expiration of his tenure, and also that crept into the expiration of his tenure. But like you and I know, this man is just beginning his tenure. His tenure is so much, he has time on his side. But in the case of Donald Trump, there was no time. And because there was no time, and he now lost the elections, not just that, the man began to make some unverified revelations of how the elections were rigged, particularly his own election, how it was rigged. So there was a kind of special treatment that was given to him, perhaps to shut his mouth. But you know him, his character is not that type that you can easily keep him mute or silent. But in the case of Joe Biden, like I said, you discover that time is on his side, and the principle of immunity that he enjoys, partial immunity, so to speak, that he enjoys, is still very much a cover for him. So I think the government agency there, like the FBI and others, like the CIA, would also be very careful to see how to tread with matters that relates to him just now as the President of the United States of America.
Because he's the seventh president.
Yes.
All right. Now, what is so special about this classified document? Even American reporters have been asking this question. Get to hear it is classified, it is classified, it's classified, and no one is divulging the specific nature of this classified document or secret document. How come the secrecy?
Yes, in one of the information I have was that those classified documents, one of them is the foreign, it has to do with the foreign relations between America and other countries. And other countries is also, it discusses other world powers. America is at the top of the world powers, so other countries that follow her rather, there are informations about those countries in those documents. So even the agencies just now don't want to release vivid information about those countries, because they know that those documents are concealed documents that only the American government has special interest on it. The American government has special interest on it, and as such, they wouldn't want to release it so that more secrets may not come out. So that is the reason why it is titled classified documents, because there are revelations that may not go well if they are released or revealed, that may not go well between America and the international communities. So in order for them to conceal some of those information is to use better phrase or phrases like classified to tag those documents.
All right, now those classified documents, they should land into the wrong hands, and America be in trouble.
Yes, they are secret of secrets, to the extent that the American government would only want such document to be within the purview of the White House. And now, some of those documents have now been discovered in private residence of former and serving President of the United States of America. So the germane question is, how did these documents live where they ought to be, and now go to the private residence of these leaders? That is the germane question. And I think that is the singular reason why the FBI is probing into those documents, to know the intention behind the sudden disappearance of those documents in the White House and their appearance in the private residence of these leaders. However, some of these documents have been discussed. They are documents that these persons were privileged to have while they occupy certain sensitive positions. But like I did say, in their unpreparedness to see how this document could be secret, or while enjoying the euphoria of their victory, like the sitting president just now, still enjoying, is still in his euphoria of celebration as the United States of America, as the president, rather, the president of the United States of America. So perhaps they now forgot that XYZ documents are with me and I kept them somewhere. But because of the liberal democracy that they practice, somebody, government agency or agencies, can also go and make probes. Are you getting me? Yeah. To see how some of those things, because there must be information from an insider on certain documents that have been found. So if these documents are really where it is assumed that they are, then why don't we probe into it to see whether these documents are real? And now they've probed, they've discovered. So what do they do? What do they tell the world? Is to give it a tag that other countries of the world may not easily read meanings to. So that is why you see today they call it classified documents. I think it's to protect the image of the United States of America.
Now, from what you said it may be due to forgetfulness, because someone is basking the euphoria of becoming the president, maybe so excited to have finished serving America as a country, they may just wishfully forget.
Yes. You know, that seat in the White House is not a seat for every Tom, Dick, and Harry. It is a seat for those who have the wisdom, those who have the mental capacity, those who have the strength, those who are not biased, those who are not religious, so to speak, those who are not tribal, to get to that seat. So by the time they find themselves on that seat, they begin to enjoy the privileges attached to it. So the possibility of abandoning something they ought to have taken care of is there. Because now there are so much documents in the State House for them to undo. So why busy handling those documents, particularly now that, before you know, in every second that passes by, the world is on a standstill, perhaps for the eventuality of any crisis from any part of the world. So much concentration is given to see how the world could be at peace. Much concentration is given to see how the world can be free of diseases. Much concentration is given to see how the world can come out from the predicted, permit me to use this language, bankruptcies of nations. You see liquidations of companies. You see different things happening to nations. The currency of different nations are falling by the second. So there are so much job to be done. So why thoughts are being channeled towards some of these jobs, they now forgot others that they ought to have handled. So you cannot see that becoming the president of the United States of America or the president of any country for that matter. It's not an easy job.
But I'm saying, once you're through with that office, submit everything that has anything to do with the office.
Yes.
Some are saying that forgetfulness is not an excuse.
It is not.
That they kept this document intentionally.
It is not. One may not be correct to say the documents were kept intentionally, because in a system where whether you keep it intentionally or you keep it by error, they can still find out. They can still find out. Just as they found out during Donald Trump, and revelations have emanated during President Joe Biden, a sitting president. Unlike other parts of the world, like special case ours, where you cannot find out anything. In fact, you don't even have the ability and the capacity to so do, because one man sits there at the center and controls everything. But in their case, one man does not control everything. There's this liberality. There's this functional display of different arms, organs, and agencies of government. That one is clear. So if you think you can now tap on any document and go away with that document, also have it at the back of your mind that at any time there could be revelations about that document you tapped on or that you made away with. So that is a system that can checkmate itself. When you find yourself in a system that can checkmate itself, the first job for you to do is to checkmate yourself. So by the time you checkmate yourself, then you may not be checkmated by the system. So I want to believe that they did not properly checkmate themselves, and that is why they find themselves in the pool of this struggle.
All right, is it an impeachable offense? Because
Yes.
we're saying impeach him. This was the same offense committed by Donald Trump, and he was taken to the cleaners. But now a serving president that knows of the intensity, or will I say the gravity of this offense, he was still found culpable.
Yes, I think by virtue of the laws of the United States of America, it is an impeachable offense. But how that drama will play out is a different ball game for another day. Hence, probe is still on. They have not said they've concluded with the probe. The man have not been made to come and defend himself. You know, the principle of fair hearing is another principle that nature, and even in a system like the United States of America, holds so tenaciously. So they may want, after the probe has been concluded, then he may be given room to come and defend himself, fair hearing, so that you can hear from him. And I think by the time the man comes out to tell his people how those documents came about in his private residence, then maybe there could be another turn of drama, and the possibility of him escaping may still be there. Mind you, like I did say, the middle term election is just by the corner.
We'll get it to the middle term election.
Yeah,
yes.
so if he escapes the impeachment, whether he is going to escape that is another different ball game.
Now talk about the midterm election, because you just dove into it. Is it going to affect the chances of the Democrats?
Already they are shouting. The Democrats are already shouting that this is an error too many, because they know that some of the Republicans who gave up on the chances of Donald Trump then are now beginning to develop strength to see how they can come back and use this opportunity to also hammer the Democrats. So the Democrats, while they are busy scheming out ways to see how ways of escape for the President of the United States of America, the person of Joe Biden, Mr. Joe Biden, they are also thinking, you know, just now, not all of the Democrats may want to support him. That is a very good system. A system where when a man does wrong, whether the man is the man's apron is tied to you, or your apron tied to the man, the possibility of you telling the truth the way it is there. That is what that is their practice. They will say it. If a man lies, he will come and tell you that, oh, once upon a time I lied. Or like in this place where we raise excuses, defenses for telling more lies. So in that place, there may be possibility where some of the members of the Congress may not be in support with President Joe Biden, particularly where the man is not able to give concrete and convincing excuses how those documents got to his private apartment. But I think the midterm elections is going to be an interesting one, because the Republicans have now seen ground to blow their trumpet and to see that the firewood is, they can now arrange it better so that there will be better fire to hit the pot. So the pot is the election. So the fire that they will prepare now to hit the pot, I think they have a brighter chance to so do. But however, the direction it will go is left on the defense. Joe Biden will table before the people.
Does this now mean that Donald Trump now have a clear chance, or at least coming out tops if he comes out to run in the U.S. election? Because he's been crying about this, that he's not the only one guilty of having classified documents in his possession, that others, they do have the same, but nobody's talking about them.
But the truth is this, for the fact that Mr. XYZ has done wrong, and he's now shouting that, oh, I'm not the only one, ABC too has done wrong. Meaning the man has accepted that he has done wrong. So, in accepting that he has done wrong, how is he now going to convince the people that once upon a time I was wrong, and that the possibility of not committing this wrong the second time is there? So you cannot see that there is going to be drama. The world is going to witness a lot of drama emanating from the United States of America. But one interesting thing is for us, particularly the third world, whether we accept it or not, the third world nations, to begin to learn the positivity in some of these dramas that we are witnessing just now. How do we now make our system to checkmate itself? How do we now boost our system so that some of our leaders can be brought to book tomorrow, and some of them can be asked questions tomorrow? Because now we are talking about the United States of America. Tomorrow, it could be us.
Tomorrow, it could be us. Talking about classified documents discovered in the private residence of the 7th President of the United States of America, Joe Biden. We have been talking about this to the extent that electorals, they ask these questions, what do they really feel about it? They're trying to draw comparison, analogy between the crime committed by both the 7th President and, of course, the ex-President Donald Trump, to compare and contrast on the level of punishment that was meted on this separate individual, one serving, the other one ex, so to speak, that want to be also the president in the person of Donald Trump. You talked about headache of Joe Biden. How is it headache?
It is a political headache, according to one of the special counsel that is probing into the matter, the person of Robert Hobb. Hobb said it is a political headache to the President of the United States of America. Because now the man will have so much worries. Remember, this man tongue-lashed. This man exhibited and manifested the length of his tongue on Donald Trump when those documents, those classified documents, were found in the private residence of then-President Donald Trump. Today, he's now a victim of what he criticized. So, by the time you criticize XYZ, and you are now a victim of that same act wherein you once criticized, I think you have much headache. Because the man presented himself more like a Puritan.
As a saint.
Yes, so he was seen as a Puritan, and I think that gave him the edge to be elected, where he now won the seat at the Congress. So now, what you once upon a time criticized, you have now fallen short of that same thing. So the pitfalls that was mentioned during Donald Trump by him and members of the Democrats, today they are also victims of those pitfalls. So what lesson is to be learned from these pitfalls? One, it goes to show that man is an enemy of himself, because once upon a time he made himself an enemy to Donald Trump as he was busy fighting Donald Trump, telling the whole United States of America people what Donald Trump has done. But today he cannot go back to swallow his vomit. Instead, he is now victim of it. So coming out to what message, what gospel does he have to preach to the people of the United States of America with regards to some of these quote classified documents that have been found in his private residence? Mind you, the documents that were found are: one, when he was at the Senate; two, as the Vice President of the United States of America. What have you been doing with those documents? So these are questions that will be going through the minds of Americans, and particularly his party members, the Democrats. Why? What did he keep this why? How come he kept this document so long? How did he come in possession of those documents? So by the time answers are being profiled to some of these germane questions, then there may be reasons to see whether he should remain as the president of the United States of America or he should go. But I think the world will witness more, because these revelations may not end with Joe Biden. Because we may now witness situation where, should Trump come back or should another man come back, we're also going to see some of these revelations. Because like I said, in a system like that of the United States of America, where you could be checkmated, then I don't think there is room for secret of secrets. And that is why you see today some of those things that they thought were secret of secrets have been revealed. So the only thing to do just now is to see how one can have a clean slate of hearts and a clean slate of the hand, to see that you are not in possession of any document, whether or not you were privileged to have those documents. As at the time you conclude with that business, if the law says XYZ document should be kept in the archives, take that document to go and put in the archives, but not to take the document and put in your possession, because that is a problem now. And now the probe, just as the probe is on, they are beginning to call for more documents in the archives, because the content of those documents that the security agencies were not privileged to know before now, they may begin to know them. And maybe in course of knowing them, we'll begin to have more revelations. So instead for the mother hen to have covered its cheeks and allow the rain to beat the mother hen, we are beginning to see the situation where the mother hen itself is running for safety and the chicks are now exposed for the hawk. So it is not only the hawk, but also the rain and sun will shine on the chicks. So right. But I do know that the United States of America has a way of downplaying some of these issues.
Do you think they're going to downplay this?
Yes, they may downplay it for the security of the world.
Don't forget that the Republicans also, they're beginning to make serious noise about this. So how are they going to downplay it?
No, politically, they may use it. But the content of those documents, just as we are not privileged to know the content of those documents, you see the adjective they use to qualify them, classified documents. But the content, they may downplay the content, because that may be the secret of the United States of America. I think I see all of this as a political drama. And the drama will keep on.
Now, do you see this revelation splitting the Democrats into fragments? Some for, some against, some undecided.
It's already doing that, because some of the Democrats are beginning to question the activities of President Joe Biden. That even where you were, one of them asked one Jamaican question, said, even when you were at the Senate, some of us were also there with you. But this document, when we were privileged to have them, we returned them to the archives. Why didn't you do same? And perhaps, maybe at the archives, there is a record saying that he returned those documents. But maybe the man was smart enough to have made photocopies or have duplicates of those documents, and he took them home. But today, those documents are beginning to beg for answers because they are asking too many questions from him. So you see it. That is why already his party is in disarray, so to speak, because they are beginning to confuse. And I won't be surprised if some of them now join the Republican to call for his head.
Wow, calling for his head. Some are saying that might just be a tall order, but in America, anything can definitely happen. Before we go, what do you think would be the excuse of Joe Biden? What do you think would be his defense? Because Donald Trump gave so much defense, but it fell on deaf ears, saying he doesn't have any excuse to keep those classified documents. What do you think will play out in favor of Joe Biden in defense of these documents, classified, secrets found in his possession?
First, the agencies may want to know whether those documents, the classified documents, aided his emergence as the President of the United States of America. That is the first thing they may want to know. And if it is discovered that they aided his victory, then I think the man is going to have a very tough situation. But if they are not connected to his victory, to him becoming the President of the United States of America, and they are not security threats to the United States of America, because one thing about the United States of America is to see that absolutely nothing is a threat to our security. Because where that thing is a threat to our security, they will not want to cover it. They want to see that they go to all lengths to see how to dislodge that. But if at the end of the day, there is nothing like that is connected to his victory, and it's not a threat, like I said, to the United States of America, they may just downplay it and tag it a political gimmick, as it is, as some are already saying, that it is just political gimmick, and it is causing political headache to the President Joe Biden. So, but however, I see this issue just now going a long way to affect his midterm election, and also if he has the mind of re-election, then it will affect him. Though I know that President Joe Biden is a very smart politician, he may just want to find a easy landing way to see how things will go well for him and for his political party. But just now, Democrats are not finding it easy.
Now, do you see other government officials past serving, and of course some that intend to serve, burning every form of classified document in their possession?
Yes, everybody will now sit tight. Everybody will now want to see how they can secure themselves. Because already I know that this probe may not end with the president alone. It may go a long way to see those who have held offices before, or who have occupied one office or the other, or one position or the other, may also be called and probed. So to cover that secret of secrets, I see them destroying more documents. But you know, even in that environment, even when you bring documents out, papers out, begin to burn, some person may want to know the content of those papers, particularly when you have held one position or the other. So I see more revelations. I see more trouble for political office holders, both former and serving, and I see more trouble for Democrats as a political party in the United States of America.
Before we call it a wrap, finally, who do you think gave the order for them to go raid the 7 president's private residence?
It was the Attorney General. I think there was a petition to that effect, so the Attorney General had to appoint a special counsel to do the probe. So it was the Attorney General. That's why I said the United States of America is a country where it checkmates itself. Even the agencies, they have power to checkmate. They have power to call for, to ask questions. Unlike here, where one man will just sit at the center and will tell any of the government agencies, look, go to the house of a serving justice of the Supreme Court and do this and that and that. At the end of the day, when people are asking questions, the man will just keep mute and say nothing happened. You go and probe this on ethnic ground, go and do this on religious ground. Over there, it's not like that. The system will checkmate you. And by the time you have found wanting, you will do the confession yourself. You say, a man will say, yes, I did tell her yesterday, today. But in this place, we will look for 1,000 answers to cover up the lie told yesterday. So I see situation where at the end of the day, it will still put United States on top of the map of the world as the state that has liberal democracy.
Liberal democracy. Thank you so much, Barrister. Appreciate a wonderful analysis. Well, viewers out there for to the general to give the order to go search a 7th president's house. We're talking about democracy in action. Even Joe Biden wasn't spared. And in fact, I knew he never saw that coming. He never saw it coming because they went to his house secretly and did some thorough search. Donald Trump also never saw it coming. And I believe that all the past, top government officials in America, they'll be very, very weary. Who knows if a couple of agents or two have been to their houses to search to find out if they have this classified document, because that's what is like, in vogue right now in America. Let's see how all this will pan out, if it's going to affect the Democrats in the midterm election, if it's going to affect Joe Biden's desire, zeal to run for a 2nd term. Yeah, don't forget that Donald Trump is around the corner saying he wants to vie also, he wants to take a shot also at the presidency. All these things coming up. Who do you think the midterm election will favor? Who do you think also the top shot at the presidency will favor when the time comes? Only time definitely will tell. Barrister, thank you once more.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you coming.
It's a privilege.
See you next week Tuesday, God willing, on the same platform. Bye for now.